The shocking and twisted relationship between Lara Williams, a 54-year-old mother, and Jack Reynolds, her 19-year-old daughter's boyfriend, shocked everyone who knew them. It was a love story that should have never been, one that began in secrecy and lust, but spiraled into betrayal, obsession, and ultimately tragedy. Jack was a young man of promise and potential. At 19, he had already secured a steady life with a bright future ahead. He was tall, athletic, and had the kind of charm that made him popular with everyone around him. He had just started his studies in mechanical engineering at the local community college, but it was his love for cars and his innate knack for fixing them that truly defined him. He spent his weekends tinkering with old cars, a hobby that had grown into a passion. It wasn't just his skills with engines that people admired. Jack had a natural ease to him, a calm confidence that drew people in. His friends looked up to him and his family adored him. To everyone who knew him, Jack was on the path to greatness. In addition to his many talents, Jack had a beautiful girlfriend, Sophie Williams. She was a smart, confident and striking young woman with dark hair and piercing green eyes. Sophie was also 19, and the two had been dating for over 2 years. They had an enviable relationship, one full of promises and shared dreams. Sophie was studying law at university, and the couple spoke often about their future. They planned to move in together after Sophie finished her studies, with discussions of marriage and a life shared between them. It seemed like they had it all figured out, but beneath the surface of this seemingly perfect couple, Jack was hiding a secret that would tear apart not just his relationship with Sophie, but his entire life. Jack had been in a passionate affair with Sophie's mother, Lara Williams, for the past 2 years. The affair had begun innocently enough, but it had quickly spiraled into something much darker and more dangerous than either of them could have imagined. Lara, a successful real estate entrepreneur in Coral Springs, was known for her sharp business acumen and ability to close major deals in luxury real estate. However, her personal life was far more complicated. Her marriage to Robert, Sophie's father, had long since lost its spark. What had once been a passionate and loving relationship had become nothing more than two people living parallel lives, both distant and disconnected. The fire between them had long since burned out, and Lara was left feeling lonely and unfulfilled. Her professional life thrived, but her personal life had stagnated. Lara had always prided herself on her beauty and charm. She was the kind of woman whose presence commanded attention, and despite her age, she still had a magnetic allure that drew people in. However, beneath the surface of her polished exterior, Lara was craving excitement and passion, something that had been absent in her life for years. She wanted to feel alive again, and that's when Jack entered the picture. It had all started innocently enough. Jack and Sophie had been dating for a year when Lara first began to notice Jack in a way that was different from how a mother should view her daughter's boyfriend. It was subtle at first, a lingering glance, a flirtatious remark, but something shifted in that moment, something neither Jack nor Lara could ignore. What began as innocent interactions during family dinners slowly turned into more private moments, where the two would find themselves alone together. It was during one of these private moments, on a quiet evening in late autumn, when everything changed. Sophie had gone to bed early, exhausted from her studies, and her father had stepped outside to make a quick phone call. That left Jack and Lara alone in the living room, the warmth of the fire crackling in the background. Their casual conversation took a strange turn. The tension between them was palpable. The chemistry that had been simmering for weeks finally reached a boiling point. Without thinking, Lara placed her hand on Jack's knee. Their eyes locked, and for a brief moment neither of them knew how to react. It was as if time had frozen in that instant, the unspoken attraction between them undeniable. Before they could stop themselves, they were kissing. It was passionate, reckless, and all-consuming. What had started as a mere spark quickly ignited into a blazing fire, and from that moment on, there was no going back. Their affair had officially begun. In the following months, Jack and Lara's secret meetings became more frequent. They would find ways to meet in private, always careful to avoid Sophie's suspicions. At first, the affair was thrilling, filled with excitement and the thrill of doing something forbidden. They met in hotel rooms in Miami, staying at luxurious places like the Ritz-Carlton, where they could escape the prying eyes of the world. Lara's wealth and connections made it easy for them to hide in plain sight. They would book rooms, retreat into the privacy of their suite, and spend hours together, indulging in their passion and desires. For Jack, it was an intoxicating experience. Lara's experience and confidence made her an alluring figure, and he found himself drawn deeper into the affair. She made him feel desired in ways he had never experienced before. But as the affair continued, Jack found himself caught between two worlds. He loved Sophie, or at least he thought he did, and he could see a future with her, but his feelings for Lara were undeniable, and the guilt weighed heavily on him. He struggled with the conflicting emotions, trying to juggle his relationship with Sophie while sneaking around behind her back with her mother. As the affair progressed, Lara became more demanding. What had once been a physical relationship began to carry emotional weight, especially for Lara. She started to demand more from Jack, more of his time, more of his attention, and more commitment. She hinted that they could run away together and start a new life, free from the constraints of their current relationships. Jack, still torn between his love for Sophie and the pull of his desire for Lara, began to feel trapped. The affair, which had once been an exciting escape, was now becoming an obsession, one that he could not shake off. Lara's behavior became more erratic. She would show up at Jack's apartment unexpectedly, leaving him scrambling to make excuses. She would call him constantly, and when he didn't pick up, she would leave frantic, emotional voicemails. The secrecy and the lies were taking a toll on Jack, and he found himself becoming more withdrawn. His friends noticed the change in him, but Jack was too deep into the affair to see how much it was affecting him. His grades slipped, his once easy-going nature became tense, and his carefree attitude disappeared. By the summer of 2022, Jack's world was unraveling. He was trapped between two women, one he loved and the other he couldn't escape. As Lara's obsession grew, she became more possessive. She started to demand more of Jack's time, and when he tried to distance himself from her, she would manipulate him emotionally, reminding him of their time together and threatening to expose their affair if he didn't comply with her wishes. The tension between them reached a breaking point. Jack tried to end the affair, but Lara refused to let him go. She knew she was losing control, and she was determined to keep him. One night, when Jack tried to end things for good, Lara exploded in a fit of rage. The encounter turned violent. In the heat of the argument, Jack's skull was shattered by a single blow. His life was taken in an instant, and everything Jack had worked for, the future he had planned, the love he had shared with Sophie, was gone in a flash. The discovery of Jack's body sent shockwaves through the small community of Coral Springs. The peaceful neighborhood was stunned by the brutal murder, and the investigation quickly unraveled the twisted web of lies, betrayal, and lust. Sophie was left to mourn the loss of her boyfriend, unaware of the darkest part of his life. Meanwhile, Lara was left to face the consequences of her actions, trapped in a deadly spiral of obsession and guilt. The affair had taken everything from both of them, an innocent young man's life and a family torn apart by betrayal. In the end, the passionate affair between Jack and Lara had turned into a fatal tragedy, one that would haunt both of them forever. And for Sophie, the revelation of the affair would come too late to save her from the pain and heartbreak that followed. If you found this story shocking, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more intense, real-life stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you think this could have ended differently? Until next time, stay safe and aware.